Let's bring them out. Dallas Jenkins and Derral Eve. Give it up. Let's go. Don't let it die down.
They're tired. They've seen enough of me. I know you're tired. Derral and I are actually going to sit down, actually, because I know...
I broke my back.
Yeah. Derral's got some back issues. Welcome to you watching at home. Thank you for joining us live here at ChosenCon. This is a family, whether you are here in person or whether you are here at home watching with us. Derral is the co-founder of, at the time, it was just the Chosen Inc. Now it's 5 and 2 Studios. Has been with this project from the beginning, from the moment that he saw it. Felt dedicated to helping build the audience. He's a social media, a brand building, audience building specialist and expert. We're going to get into a little bit of that in our time together. But I just wanted to let you know that this man's heart is, he bleeds for you. He wakes up and goes to bed thinking about how can we serve you, how can we serve the fans better. My focus is on the content. I love you too, but my focus is on making the content so that he focuses on how we can get the content out to more people. This is an interesting room.
It is.
And the reason is because you and I have been in rooms like this before talking about The Chosen, and they weren't always this full.
Yeah.
Our first time bringing The Chosen to the world was at a conference.
In Anaheim.
In Anaheim, the National Religious Broadcasters. And the night before, Kingdom Story Company and Lionsgate had announced all these big projects that they were doing. The room was packed with 2,000 people cheering. They're Forking and Country performed. There were lights and spotlights and like sound effects, and it was this huge thing, and they were live streaming it. And the next morning, we had a screening of episode 1 of season 1 of The Chosen. And you had put a lot into the promotion of it and into the design of the screens and all this kind of stuff. And we walked into that room.
It was empty.
Yeah. I think there might have been, like, eventually about 50 people, which made it feel even more empty.
52, so that is kind of ironic.
Oh, that's it. That's true. 52 people, 5 and 2. God was telling us something.
But I just remember that. It was so much excitement for the type of content, and yet the people never have seen it. And this is like a great opportunity. Had a lot of influencers, people at this conference. I'm like, this is the place. This is the place. But what was beautiful to watch, and this is what I'll say about that, is the first miracle of getting the content out to the world happened because the people that watched, those 52 people that watched, they stayed and they talked to Dallas and was hearing the vision and the mission behind what we were trying to pull off. And we talked for hours, and those were some of the first people in the Chosen Army to get it out to the world.
Yeah, and it was very clear early on that it was hard for people to find the show. There weren't many people watching it. I always like to say 80% of the Chosen viewership was reluctant at first for various reasons, and so we were struggling to get people to watch. But when they did, they were super passionate, and your skill set is fanning the flames of that passion. And again, we'll talk about that in a bit. But one of the things we want to start right off the bat is that one of the most common questions we get is, when are things coming out? When is season 6 coming out? What else are you doing? Are you going to do the book of Acts? What else? What other Bible stories are you doing? So we're going to talk about that right now. We're actually going to give you, yes. Now, I want to tell you in advance, I'm sorry, I have some bad news. We don't actually have exact dates for everything, okay? So multiple people.
It's soon. It'll be out soon.
Yeah, there's some boos there because some people have said to me, when is it coming out? And don't say soon.
I said soon. You
you said it. So what I'm going to take you through is kind of the timeline of the projects that we are doing over the next couple of years. Again, we don't have exact dates, but Derral, before I show this, talk real quick about how when we do announce these dates, which we will know exactly in a couple weeks, a few months, like around Easter, we're planning to kind of launch some of our creative elements like the poster and images and whatnot from season 6, along with some dates. You have made a career out of thinking through this kind of thing and helping. Derral has always said from the beginning, it's one of the ethoses of our company. It's not about marketing. We're not marketing to you. We're building a relationship. And we want to have a direct relationship with you. And so you activate people who are already members of the family. And you care more about that than you do even trying to get it out to more people. So they work one and the same. So just really quickly, how can the people in this room actually help when we start announcing these things in the next couple of weeks and months?
Yeah, so the first thing, we have a true opportunity to impact the world, and the content that was made and is about ready to come out is our moment. It is our moment, and we need to seize the opportunity. So the best way to do this is as content comes out, doesn't matter on what platform, take time and actually leave a good comment, hit that share button, but more importantly, with that share button, leave more of a post, that you're making a post. And that actually will elevate getting that content out to more people. And the thing about it is, you have been so good to support us on social media. We have so many followers out there, but what we need to do is really mobilize. And the best way to do that is to go through that process. Now, there is one other thing that if you have time and if you can figure out, if not, get with your either son, grandson, or someone that knows technology a little bit, but to actually make a video of yourself and leave it into that, not the comment, but as a post or as a reel. It actually does more lifting and it gets out to a lot more people. So if something impacts you and you're able to go through this process, this is our moment to really get it out to the world.
Yeah, and so it's not just the content of the show, but things like, all right, they just dropped the new trailer. They just dropped I just watched it. I just saw it. You got to go check it out here. Posting selfie videos and that kind of thing really make a big difference. So very soon, I promise, when we start to announce the dates and some of the creative to promote the season, you are going to be an extraordinarily important part of getting that out to more people and making sure that when season 6 does come, there's going to be actually more people paying attention than ever before, not just because of the growth of the show, but because the crucifixion is such a cultural moment all over the world. In many countries, it's actually part of their culture, even from the top down, from the government. It's not like even necessarily a religious thing, it's a cultural thing. So there will be many people who will be paying attention to this, even if they haven't watched the show. So there's still work for all of us, including you, to be done to get this out to more people. Okay, so with that, I'm going to put up a timeline up on this big screen here that you can see, and I might actually stand up and start pointing to things here. Okay, so you are here, ChosenCon 2026, right? That's right now. The next thing from 5 and 2 Studios is The Chosen in the Wild with Bear Grylls. Yes. How many of you saw an episode yesterday? And it was great, right? It's not just, it's fun. We're going to send some actors in Dallas out into the wild with Bear Grylls. We're all just going to have a laugh because it's fun to watch them struggle. That's part of it. But there's also some really deep and really profound things that are happening in that show that really give you insights into what's happening in our lives and in the impact of the show. And so really make sure that you check that out. That's going to be coming to Prime Video. Then in the fall of 2026, again, we don't have the exact dates just yet, episodes 1 through 6 of season 6 will be coming to Prime. They will be coming to streaming, and shortly thereafter, of course, as always, coming into the app. But Prime Video releasing episodes 1 through 6, and then if you recall, and I've shared this with on some live streams and whatnot, the finale of season 6 is essentially a supersized episode that is going to be released as a theatrical global event all over the world in dozens of languages all at once. So, yeah. So that's going to be happening in early 2027. Now, thank you for those of you who clapped. I know the rest of you are thinking, man, why do we have to wait so long? I get it. I know that you want to see it earlier, as soon as possible. Here's why we can't. It's not just we're trying to be cute and we're trying to have cool release dates or anything like that. Season 6 is the biggest season we've ever done without a close second. It took the longest to film by far. The visual effects, the translations especially, take at least 2 to 3 times longer than any season we've ever done. And so even now, like just yesterday, I was giving notes on some of our visual effects. Because when we, like for example, when we went to Italy to film, even though it's an extraordinary setting, the backdrop still has modern things that have to be painted out, and so there's tons of shots that require visual effects. And it's just supersized. The whole season is supersized, and so it's just going to take time. And for the first time ever, we're releasing episodes 1 through 6 to streaming, and then the finale in theaters on all of these languages at the same time. So the translation takes some time. So I just ask for your continued grace and patience. It will be worth it, but this is a season that took a lot out of us. It took very long to film, very long to finish in post-production, and so just your patience and grace is appreciated in that. I promise you, we're working as hard and as fast as we can on it. So episodes 1 through 6, streaming in the fall. Big global theatrical release all over the world through Amazon MGM in theaters all over the world. Then we've got a little bit of space, as you can see. But there's some projects in development that I can't talk about just yet that we may or may not be working on. But I would imagine that sometime in 2027, sometime probably, I'm not allowed to give timelines just yet because we don't actually even know just yet, but probably sometime in the first half is Joseph of Egypt. Joseph of Egypt, our limited series, that means 8 episodes of the season. We actually showed a sneak peek of a rough cut. We're still working on it. We've still got some work to do on it to make it great. But we finished filming that at the end of last year, and now we're working on the post-production of that. That's going to take some time, but man, it is really turning out beautifully. We're very, very proud of it. And the connection from the Old Testament to the New, the stories of Joseph and his brothers and Jacob are really an essential part of the Chosen universe that we are building. And then the Chosen Season 7, I'm going to give you a little spoiler. If the Chosen Season 6 is like the crucifixion, the Chosen Season 7 is what? The resurrection. Wow, you've read your Bibles. I'm so happy. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. So Season 7 will be coming out after Season 6. How's that for some specificity? It's going to take some time as well. We actually start filming in a little less than 2 months. Can you believe that? I can. I'm not ready. I'm still recovering from Season 6. I'm still working on Season 6 right now, finishing up the scripts for Season 7. We will be delivering the scripts to the actors over the next couple of weeks. We're literally working, like even just as I'm here at ChosenCon, I'm working on the scripts for Season 7 and finalizing those. So much is happening. And then most of you who were here at our last ChosenCon heard this, and a lot of you who are part of watching on live streams have known this, but yes, we do plan to do more. I plan to do more as a showrunner and as a creator and director. The 2 stories that I'm very passionate about that I will be doing sometime after Season 7 is complete. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I love you so much, but I will need a break. The story of Moses, a 3-season show about the life of Moses. And the book of Acts. Yes, I know. You're like, that's what we want to see.
Well, we got to see Paul. Come on.
Yeah. At some point, Paul, enters into this story, and so we want the birth of the early church, what happens after Jesus leaves, but leaves with them the Holy Spirit. We're already, even just starting to tease some of that in Season 7 in our scripts, of course, because Season 7, the resurrection actually takes place early in the season. So there's a whole lot of stuff that isn't normally explored in previous portrayals. And so, yeah, we've got things like the ascension and all of that we're figuring out right now. We're like, all right, how are we going to figure out how to do that? We're working on it right now. And so, yeah, we're going to, and then we're not going to just end it right there. We've got a little bit more from the book of Acts to introduce to you before we take a break, and then we'll come back at some point to show you the rest of the story. That's called The Way of the Chosen, will be the name of the Book of Acts show. So, a lot going on, right?
I'm excited. This is great.
I'm going to sit down. So that is our present and near future. Now, we're not the only ones who are doing content like this, and I wanted to give you a heads up about something that's happening right now. So as you saw earlier in a session that we had where we were talking to other creators of other projects outside of The Chosen, we want to tell you about good things. And the movie I Can Only Imagine 2, yes. I Can Only Imagine 1 was a huge trailblazer. It introduced an audience to Hollywood that they hadn't been previously aware of. Lionsgate released that movie, and it was such a huge success that it opened the doors for so many others, including me.
That's right.
And they weren't necessarily planning on a sequel. I'm good friends with the Irwin brothers who made the first one, and they weren't planning on a sequel, but there was another incredible story in that whole storyline, another incredible song. And Andy Irwin, John's brother, was like, I have to tell this story as well. And it came out of his heart. I got a chance to see an early preview of it just a couple months ago. And I'm telling you, it's transformative. It is all about how you find God, even though God has already found you, how you find God in the midst of suffering. So I want to show you a trailer for this that has an introduction from a couple of really cool people that they recorded it just for you. But this movie is out this weekend. It's actually in theaters right now. So I don't want you to leave to go see it right now. And I don't want you to leave to go see it tomorrow during the day. But at some point this weekend, Sunday night even, at some point in the next week, I really want you to see this movie. But let's check out this video right now from I Can Only Imagine 2.
Wow. Wasn't that so good?
The movie has a special resonance for us because in the last half a year or so, as you heard last night, our family's been going through quite a bit. I hinted at some of the stuff that you've gone through in the last 6 months. There was a moment when we weren't sure if you were going to make it. Can you just share with us how you're doing now and what happened?
So just a little context, my wife has been putting off back surgery for quite some time, and we was going to find a specialist. We found the specialist, and everything went beautiful. And then a week later, as she's in recovery, I just had some major back issues that was just every day, it was just getting more intense. And that led to going to the emergency room, and they did a CT scan, and come to find out I broke my back. And we were trying to figure out what was going on. And luckily, they did a blood test, and I had an MRI scheduled in a couple days. And when the results for the blood test came back, they said that I was almost septic, and they had this staph infection that was just literally eating my spine away. And so my T11 and T12 is currently broken right now, and it kind of has a divot in there. And it was a rough 10 days in the hospital. They were just trying to figure out how to treat me, try to give me the medicine that I need to get that my blood and that infection, to go away. And it was touch and go. I'm not going to lie, it was touch and go. And then, luckily for God knows everything, and I was ready if He would call upon me that it was my time to go. But luckily, I just felt that the doctors and the prayers were coming in, and we'd be able to get through this. And so after the hospital, I was on my back for almost a solid 2 months. And my poor wife, as she's in recovery, she had to take care of me. I had a PICC line, and we had to have the medicine go in at the right time, and it would go off. And she was in so much pain. And here she was serving me. And so it was tough. And, it's been a rough year. But the only way that we've got through it is because of God. And it's still been tough, but man, it's just hard to go through it. And then it was just like one thing after another. You guys were going through so much, and it's just brutal.
So, I Can Only Imagine 2 is about that, and about God's presence in the midst of extraordinary suffering. Again, as we always say, season 6 is about suffering and surrender in the midst of it, and we are not free from the lessons of our seasons. And so we're happy to go through this with you. Derral would not have missed ChosenCon. We just have to sit down right now as he's recovering. So, we love you, Derral.
Thank you.
All right, so we got some stuff to show you back with 5 and 2 Studios. So I'm going to go ahead and show you right now without any further ado. Let's show you the trailer for our Chosen in the Wild with Bear Grylls. It's coming out in a couple months. Check this out right now.
I know Bear was mentioning, they want to make people uncomfortable and get them out of situations, and I noticed your shirt was off. Was that a request?
No, they said take your shirt off because we're jumping into an ice-cold river. And that was me jumping into an ice-cold river. That was the easy part because I do cold plunges all the time anyway. Doing it with the shirt off in 33 degrees outside of the river was a little bit challenging. But the point of these challenges, though, is to also face a lot of your fears, face a lot of your struggles. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually show you a clip from one of the episodes. This is the episode with Luke Dimian, who plays Judas. And this is, the reason I wanted to show you this clip is because it speaks to what I'm talking about. That this isn't just about an action-adventure show, but it's about going deeper. And so let's check out this clip of the episode with Luke Dimian. Okay, so one thing I want to give you a heads up on, because we're about to show another clip, but after the next clip, Derral and I will be taking your questions. And some have already come in, but you can start texting questions now if you would like, whether you're at home or in the room. The number is actually my text community number. So they're going to put it up on the screen here. It is 214-239-1527, 214-239-1527. And this is, many of you are already getting texts from me on this number. But this is how I communicate to you. Again, it doesn't require anything. It takes 10 seconds, 15 seconds to sign up. It's just something that I'm doing to thank you. So I give gift discounts. Some of you who are here at ChosenCon right now are getting texts while you're here for giveaways and opportunities to see certain things. And so this is exclusive. I sometimes give updates and prayer requests that we don't give anywhere else, and also a lot of opportunities. So you can text your question now for Derral and me, and we'll be doing a Q&A. Who wants to see something from season 6 of The Chosen? So this is a scene from, I believe it's episode 2. It's 2 or 3, but I think it's 2. I'm pretty sure it's 2. And this is a clip that we were just working on a couple weeks ago. So I got some of the sound and video and the music's in and everything. So this is actually pretty close to what you'll eventually see finally. But this is a scene where the women, so you saw on night 1 here, we showed a clip from episode 1 where the disciples are walking away from the Garden of Gethsemane and they're confused and they're scared and they're upset. Well, now we're with the women. And the women are saying, look, right now we're going to see Jesus. Mother Mary has said, I need to see my son. I need to know where he is. And so looking into that, trying to capture what everyone around Jesus must have been doing and thinking as they were pursuing him during this time. And so they leave Lazarus' house and they're headed into Jerusalem to try to look for him. But they don't know where he is. All they've heard is that he was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, taken away, and they don't know anything more than that. They just heard it from the boys who got back from the garden, and they don't know anything other than that he's in Jerusalem somewhere. And so that's the backdrop for this moment of them hustling into the city and trying to figure things out. So we will show you that right now. It's heavy when you think about it. And when you're tasked with covering in this season all the stories of all these characters, and you go, what would Mother have been thinking? What have Magdalene been thinking? The women who we know end up at the cross, how did they get there? And as Jesus is being taken from place to place and imprisoned, where are they? And so we explore that in this season. And so, yeah, just wanted to give you that glimpse because I think it captures what the season is. And what...
I got the first question, if I can.
Okay.
Okay, so you and Tyler and Ryan were in your basement kind of doing, hey, this is going to be 7 seasons, and here's the character arcs.
Oh, back in 2017.
2017. Did you even imagine that what you wrote for season 6, did you have it all scripted out? Did you have it in your head? Like,
yeah, we definitely didn't have like a scene like that in our heads. But what we knew from the beginning was when we get to these key biblical moments, these life-altering historical and biblical moments, that we were always going to make sure we're clocking in on the people that they impacted. The whole point of the show, if you see Jesus through the eyes of those who met him, perhaps you can be changed and impacted in the same way they were. And so if you can identify with moments like that, that's why we've been showing scenes like this. Confusion and, yes, ultimately surrender in the midst of heartbreak. And she says, we don't know where he is, but God will bring us to him again. And so let's just maybe move slowly, right? Even that is a metaphor of maybe we don't have to rush to everything. Let's move slowly and maybe we will see more clearly. And so that's what that scene is about, and that's what we've been experiencing personally throughout this year. And so, again, if you have questions for us at home or in the room, you can be texting this number, 214-239-1527. And what they're doing is then they're texting me the questions that are coming in. So we're going to just go right into it here. First one is, if it's only covering one day, why did season 6 take the longest to film? That's from Anthony.
Good job, Anthony. That's a great question.
That's a really good question. Yeah, it takes a lot longer to make the show than it does for you to watch it. So whenever people say, like, just season 5 finished, and they're like, when's season 6 coming out? I'm going, my goodness, give it a minute. Like, it takes you about 6 to 7 hours to watch the season. That's less than one day of filming. So, yeah, the filming process for season 6 was 86 days between Texas, Utah, Italy, Texas again, 86 days of filming with, but that covers a span of about 5 to 6 months. And so that's, when you see 1 minute of screen time, that's probably the equivalent of, 4 hours of filming. And I'm just using 1 minute as an example, but 4 hours of filming and then loads of time on post-production and all of that. So the filming process is just an extraordinarily long and difficult process. It involves hundreds of different people. So,
oh yeah, I had an extra come up to me and says, "Oh, we were there all day. How much time is this going to be?" And I says, "I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen as it gets edited." Is 26 seconds. So
yeah. They were there for all of one day, for all day, and what we filmed that day took up 26 seconds. Betsy asks, I'm confused by Atticus. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? And then they told me, this is a surprisingly common question. It's a really good question. Okay, so the next question is for Derral. We know Dallas's 5-2 story, the moment that changed everything for him with The Chosen. But what about Derral? Does he have his own 5-2 story? This is from Ricky. Yeah, and we talk about this all the time of what happened, your kind of introduction to The Chosen and the moment when you realized you wanted to be part of it. Yeah,
for me, my occupation, I build audiences and get them to see things and then try to create, community around that. And I put on a conference every year. It's called Vid Summit, and Jeffrey Harmon came to that conference and showed me a short film that you made. I didn't even know who you were. And I was watching it around a 9-inch Chromebook. It was like really small. And immediately I knew it was low budget, but the writing was so good. And I'm like, I've heard this story about the Nativity so many different times, but I never thought of how it would be from other perspectives besides Joseph and Mary. And so I was like really pulled into sympathizing and empathizing with the shepherd. But then there was just this one moment that just wrecked me. And it was this shepherd who was kind of the bottom of the shepherds. And he was basically verbally abused, from the other shepherds. And he went to go give his offering. And his offering was rejected. And all this guy wanted was to just learn about the Messiah, and he's just trying to do his best. And it was just down on his luck. And he could hear in the background, some preaching in the synagogue. And this is where it wrecked me. a guy that just wanted to know about the Messiah goes in and hears the scripture being taught, and then here he was kicked out. And so here he's having the worst day that he's ever had, just bottom of the day.
Because he's not worthy to be in the synagogue.
Worthy
because he's dirty.
Yeah.
Because he's a dirty shepherd.
And anyway, so he's just at the bottom of his day, probably his life, and just rejection all around. And then that's when Joseph and Mary come into scene. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. Because I could kind of see where this is going. And what I love more than anything else about the shepherd was just this moment where they asked him where the well was because they were thirsty. They'd just been coming. They've been traveling. And he pointed that out. And then he noticed that he had his water satchel. That broke me. I mean, just to think. And here he offered it to Mary, that she can not thirst. And here it is, like the symbolism. It was so beautiful, to give the mother who's going to bring forth the living water. And it just spoke to me on a level I cannot explain. And right then and there, right after that moment, I got kind of pulled out. And they said, "Oh, it's not done yet. It's not done yet." And I'm like, I don't care what's going to happen next. I'm all in. And I mean it. I'm all in. Whatever we need. Even if I just have to hold the light, I'm all in. I'm going to do this. And met Dallas the next week, and he shared his vision of what he wanted to create. And I felt like everything I was doing in my life professionally led up to this moment to help this man with his vision get this out to the world.
When we launched The Chosen, it took a long time, and there was a 6-month period of time when I didn't have a job. We were writing the show, and we had thought that the investment in the crowdfund was going to work faster than it did, and so there was this period of time where I didn't have a job, and I said to Derral, I got to go find something to earn income for my family. I can't keep waiting. Derral gave us money, gave our family money during that time just to keep us going. That wasn't an investment. It didn't come back to him as profit. It's not like he held some loan note to me. He just said, you need to keep writing. You need to be working on this. This is going to work. He knew from the beginning. He's like, this is going to be huge. It's going to impact people all over the world like it's impacted me, even when I had no concept of that. And the show doesn't exist without Derral not only just building an audiences, but holding the light. And actually...
Can I say something about that? And my wife, Carolyn, she's been right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right
It's both of your money that you were giving, so she had to give permission. There was actually this really cool moment. There's a picture of it somewhere, but we were filming the poster for the Messengers, our follow-up Christmas special. And Derral was literally holding up a light for the picture and was doing it not for some posed thing. It was doing it because he is willing to do whatever it takes to get what we need done. And he was literally holding up a light for the photo. And we're like, man, Derral, you are holding the light. And that's what he's been doing the whole time. So it's really beautiful. So. Another common question, this comes from Fred. Will you need background extras for season 7? It takes a while to grow a beard back, he said.
Are there beards in heaven?
Oh, yeah. No, we're not doing any heaven scenes. Don't worry. Sorry. But, we're working through that now, and the answer is yes. I will say there won't, in season 7, there aren't the kind of scenes that have been in season 6 and 5 and whatnot, where we have, thousands of people all at once. So this season 7 will be a little bit more intimate, which may provide some actually really exciting opportunities. Because one of the bummers is that when you who've done this before show up, and there's hundreds of you per day, and it's hard to get an intimate experience. And so we do as best we can to give you a good experience, but and I try as best I can to say hi to everybody at some point. But this time it'll be a little bit of a smaller crowd each time. So I think that actually might open up some good opportunities. So yeah, we always want you to be part of this as much as possible. Lisa asks, you've talked about how hard it was to make season 6, but what was the best part? I mean, the fact that we got a chance to do this never stopped being extraordinary. But I think this, I want to ask you this question, because you actually came to Italy to watch and to do some activations and meet with a few people. But I actually backstage said, you were in Italy, right? Because I barely remembered, because I didn't, like I said last night, I didn't even have time to go to the bathroom some days, genuinely. 10 hours, just focused. And so I didn't even see you much at all. I think I might have said hi from a distance, but you came to observe, and you've always had such a unique perspective, because when you come to the set, you don't actually have a responsibility in that moment.
Yep.
So but you have a lot of ownership of it. So what was it like to you to see? Did you see anything that made you feel positive during a very challenging situation?
Yeah, I got to go back 8 years ago when we went to Israel, and we were going to shoot some film or some videos for raising the money to get people aware. And I remember just praying that we would get clarity, and then you would get clarity too, because this is a lot on your shoulders. And I just remember there was a couple key moments there in Israel where I was just imagining what it would be like, just developing the characters up to that point, and then having that ultimate moment where Jesus is scourged and then crucified. And it wrecked me. I'm not gonna lie. I could not take it. And to see everything that was going on, and there's no imagination in this. And it was brutal. And for me, one of my best moments of all time, I've captured this. And I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. I'm going to just talk about it, I guess. Because he asked, so you guys get it.
Just be I don't know what he's about to say.
Yeah.
So be very careful.
When Jonathan was between takes, Dallas would rush over and lift him up.
Yeah, he would be standing, because his arms were up the whole time, and so even though his feet were supported, the weight of it and the pressure of it was so significant, and so in between takes he would need a break, but we couldn't take him down. And so while we were waiting for the stairs to come bring and allow him to get off, his feet were oftentimes, because of being suspended, were oftentimes just hanging there for about a minute. And so I just had to run over and just so he would put his feet on my shoulders.
But I just thought, how beautiful that was. That was actually one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen a part of the project. Mm-hmm. And to know how much you've given your all in this. And then too, not a lot of people knew at the time, but everything that you were going through personally and just everything, it was just beautiful to watch that. And for me, I just can't wait for the people to see this, to see this moment. It's time for the world to see this.
Yeah, that's true. And the best part of it, to answer the question, is that in the midst of the suffering, God is present, and he gives us each other. And so some of the bonding that has taken place throughout the season has been by far the best part. And we wouldn't have gotten, I think, as much bonding if there wasn't a little bit of trauma to bond us. And so that's been a beautiful part.
There's a lot of trauma.
Yeah. So we've just got a few minutes left, so I'm going to go through these questions quickly. This one is kind of confusing to me. It's from Abdal. It says, why do you present the disciples as weak in faith, doubtful, and of poor character? The disciples represented the strong, faithful elite from the moment they responded to the call to support Jesus. I'm going to have to say, I just think that's fundamentally untrue, and clearly not backed by Scripture. I don't think that the disciples, all the way, goodness sakes, even after the resurrection, Peter had to be rebuked by Paul. They were, all the way through that weekend, not strong, not always faithful. Yes, doubtful. So I almost wonder if that question was a setup. If not, then you don't need to just stop watching the show for a bit and just read the Bible, and then come back to watching the show. So I'm not saying that meanly. I'm just saying, sorry. So I don't think the disciples in the Gospels were the strong, faithful elite from the moment they were called.
At all.
Jesus actually said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan," at one point, and that was after the call. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting question. Let's see. What do you think's the best way to convince someone who's hesitant to watch the show? What's worked best for you? This is from Raquel. That's a really interesting question.
You mind if I take this one?
Absolutely.
So just invite him to dinner. Have it be a part of an opportunity. Say, hey, dinner, we're going to watch a little show. You know, be friendly, be kind. We have it accessible everywhere. And the reality is like The Chosen's meant to be watched with people. It's a co-viewing experience. And the conversations that happen before and after are so critical. And there's so many people that discovered who Jesus is and got on their knees and got into the Bible because someone out there shared The Chosen with them.
Yeah. And I think also some of you oftentimes feel the pressure of, well, they might not get it right away. Or, okay, well, the show really starts to be more understandable and kicks into gear by episode 3 or episode 2 or whatever it is. And so I sometimes tell them to watch this episode first. I'm not gonna get in the way of any of your relationships with your friends. I'm saying this genuinely. I'm just saying sometimes just trust the process, because when you are introducing anybody to any of the shows that you watch, not just The Chosen, but any show, it happens to me all the time where I go, all right, first couple episodes, you're just getting to know the characters, you're just getting to know the setting. It takes a bit, but man, I'm telling you, it's worth it. Or make sure you hang in till the end of the episode, because it's we do that all the time anyway. So it's okay to do that with The Chosen as well. But I promise you, that will be much less confusing than if you try to give them some random episode that's later, and all of the things that we've done to try to set up these characters will feel out of context, and it won't have the same weight. But it's also okay if someone just doesn't want to watch it, or if they start to watch it and they just don't like it. It's okay. I can take it. You can take it. It's okay. It's not for everybody. It's intended for everybody to enjoy if they can, but not everyone will like it. Not everyone will want to watch it, and that's okay. 5 and 2, right? We put our 5 loaves and 2 fish together. God does the rest of the work. He does the multiplication. So don't worry if it's not always multiplying as fast as you want it to. Sometimes moving slowly, as Mary Magdalene says, sometimes that's the more effective way anyway.
Yeah. I do remember one thing when Dallas presented the scripts for season 1, and I read the first episode, and I went to him, I'm like, oh, do we really want to start this dark? Yeah. And you're like, oh, Derral, then you don't get it. Like, this is all about redemption. It's all about seeing someone that's broken and are completely changed, and the only difference in between is Jesus. And we have gotten more comments, more DMs, more emails from that first episode. And there's something about setting up the story.
Well, you're right. And see, a lot of the people you might be recommending it to might not be actually as familiar with Scripture as you are. And you might be thinking, you know what, that means they're not going to get it right away. Well, that may happen, but that's, again, the same as every other show, is you don't understand everything right away because you don't know these people yet. So what we've found is that it's actually the Bible readers and the more traditional Christians who were a little bit more confused in the first episode than the nuns, because they had expectations. They're like, well, I don't remember this. This isn't in the Bible. Where's Jesus? I thought this was a Jesus show. And it was the non-Christians who were like a little bit more willing to treat it like a normal show. But here's the most important thing. I can tell you that from especially people who have been struggling at the level that Mary Magdalene was, women's shelters, prisons, people who were really watching the show at a dramatically low point, have a very powerful experience with the show because of their identification with who these people were before they met Jesus. So those moments that might not be in Scripture are still moments that are connective to people to say, I can connect with this character, and normally I don't. Normally when I'm given a Bible project or a Christian movie, I can't connect because it's so sanitized, but I can connect with these people, and then maybe, just maybe, in fact, as we've heard from millions of people all over the world, definitely, they will see the same answer to those struggles and questions and doubts of the people 2,000 years ago is the same answer today. And that's why people's lives are being transformed. So be patient with it, and that's the way to do it. So thank you. Just a couple more here real quick. We'll do them kind of rapid fire. My 13-year-old binged The Chosen Adventures in 2 afternoons and loved it. Will there be a second season? I didn't see it in your timeline. We are developing it right now, but we actually don't know for certain just yet. Season 1, again, expensive. When we make things as easily accessible as possible and as cheap as possible for you to view, that means that sometimes it takes a long time for us to get the resources to do another season. So right now we're weighing that. We're looking at all of that, looking at what our options will be for distribution, ways that we can recover resources from the resources that we spend to make the show, that they're going to come back. So we're weighing that right now.
Can I share a little bit on this? Because this is really important for me. It's like, this is really great content. If you haven't seen it, watch it with your kids and grandkids or your neighbor kids. Just like bring people together, and you're going to see that it's a multi-generational viewing experience. There's jokes and dialogue for adults, and the kids find it fun. But what I love about this is it is free. It is free on YouTube. You can go right now, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch every episode. And it's
on YouTube, the first 4 have been released.
Yeah.
The 5th one is coming out.
I think it was just this next week.
Yeah. And so on YouTube, they're releasing once every few weeks. All of the episodes are on Prime and on Minnow right now. So if you have a Prime subscription or a Minnow subscription, you can watch all of the episodes, and then you can watch them free on YouTube one at a time.
But it reminds me of what happened when we just had 4 episodes of season 1 of the major show. It took a while for people to get it and come on board. And the more that you support us through gifts, and also just watching the show and sharing with others, that actually will move the needle for us to greenlight the rest of the...
So we'll wrap up here with just a couple more quick ones. Maybe a basic question: how did you get the name The Chosen? That's from Sheila. The Chosen represents Jesus as the chosen one, the Jews as God's chosen people. It's a very Jewish show. And those who Jesus chose to follow him. And so the name came in about 3 seconds. I was on a phone call with one of our co-founders. Like, we got to come up with a name for this show. And it was literally like, ping. And I said, what about The Chosen? Yeah, what about The Chosen? And it was literally like, okay. And it just stayed, and it's been that ever since. So yeah, God sometimes just gives you things quickly. Let's see, do Dan and Matt conduct an orchestra, or do they record all the music themselves? Those are the composers who also opened up ChosenCon with a performance. They're extraordinary. They record nearly all of the music themselves. Sometimes they bring in people, like one person at a time, to maybe do a special instrument, but those guys are geniuses, and they're doing the bulk of the work themselves. Who or what influenced the choice of branding The Chosen with the color teal? Or as Derral would say, till.
Till.
Yeah.
Till Tuesday.
Yeah, this was you and I when we were first coming up with some of the design elements, and there were some colors that looked really great, but they didn't mean much for the story. And so we said, let's stop right now. What is The Chosen about? What are the themes of The Chosen? And then that needs to dictate our design choices, not the other way around. Not what's the splashiest or what's going to get the most attention, but what does the show actually trying to say? And we started looking at colors and what they mean and what they represent. And teal is the color of life. It's the color of water. And we said, you know what? This show, there's a lot of there's big themes of water, fishing. And that's when we started to think about the color of life. And so in the opening credits, that really is when it crystallized for us. The opening credits, the first fish comes along the screen going against the current of gray fish that are all going in one direction, lifeless. And one teal fish comes across, and then one by one, 12 different fish turn teal and start following Jesus and swimming against the current. And so that was the opening credits, and that's why that color means so much to us, and we know it means something to you because we see it out here in the crowd all the time.
They said till will never sell, but look out.
Yes. So thank you. If you're watching at home, that wraps up our live stream, and we've got so much more for you tonight. I want to make sure that because I know you're hungry, you need to go eat. I'm going to be doing a meet and greet, I know that, but also there's going to be a screening tonight, and I think Heather will probably tell you about this, but of season 2 of House of David. And so you have got to make sure that you check that out. So make sure that you come back for that after meet and greets or dinner or whatever it is. But thank you so much for this time. We love you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
More to come. Tomorrow's a big day. Do not miss it. And tomorrow night, big night. Do not miss it. We will see you soon.
Thank you.
Give it up for...